You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. Welcome to the Phi Psi podcast. I'm your host, Joe Philon. What up, folks? All right, today, episode 4. Got my special guest, man, Mr. Ron Hale is going to talk to us about his journey from high school local legend to pro. What's good, big dog?
What's going on with you, brother? Good to see you.
Likewise, man. Likewise, man. We met. I saw you play in the pro-am was when I first saw you. You was out of high school. I think I'm a little older than you. I think you 96 or 95?
96.
96. Yep. And you was in the pro-am. And then when you we'll talk about your journey and where you went, but then when you came home and you was doing your pro thing, you was working out with working with Coach Thorpe, Coach David Thorpe.
David Thorpe, yep.
Yeah. So Thorpe actually JoJo's actually working with Thorpe now.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro. He cold.
Yeah.
He cold, man. That's actually, when I worked out with him, I was like, dang, I wish I got with him in high school. He cold. He cold. I really like it. That was my favorite trainer ever. Well, him and Eric Spoelstra was my top two that I worked with, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, because I remember you guys always talking about him. It was you, Carl Thomas, Kevin Martin, Lauren Woods. That was y'all group. I might be missing somebody. And
that was pretty much the core. But we had another cat come in, Jaime, from like the Virgin Islands that was working out with us a little bit. But that was pretty much the little core right there for sure.
Yeah, but all y'all used to speak so highly of Coach Thorpe. So when JoJo was doing his thing and we was in the recruitment phase and all that stuff and trying to get him right, I asked CT, I said, man, you still talk to Coach Thorpe? He's like, you know what, man, let me hit him up. And we just went from there, man.
Yeah.
Yep. But he told me to tell you what's up, man.
Yeah, for sure, man. He really took my game to like a whole nother level for sure. And I wish I would have got with him earlier, And it's funny when you're doing it, you're like, why am I repping this over and over and over? You know what I mean? But and you get out there, it's second nature to you. So
Gotcha. All right, so let's jump right in. So, who is Ron Hale? Talk to us. Tell us about you.
Ron Hale, like you say, I was born in Tampa, actually.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Tampa, Carver City, and then that's where my grandma from, you know what I mean? And then I moved to Largo when I was younger and got into hoops. Went to Largo High School. That's kind of where a lot of people don't know this either. I was cut all through middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Wow. I was cut. Yeah. So then I got to high school. I kind of found myself. I was getting I was a goofy kid, you know what I mean? I was getting in some trouble and stuff. And but I played more football. So I was like a football player.
Gotcha.
And so I made that transition once I got to high school. It was like I hit my little growth spurt. I'm like, I probably got a better chance at basketball. I did that in like a couple years. Actually, I got seen. I was on JV, and Florida State came to watch somebody on varsity and saw me, and that's when I got my first offer. I was on JV, and kind of took off from there. Went to Florida State. Went overseas, played pro ball for like 13 years, and signed with the Heat out of college on a free agent deal, and ended up getting cut. And then my journey after that was overseas. So that's pretty much a little bit of, in a nutshell, but I'm sure we'll get more deeper into it,
Yeah, I think you made history, man, getting a high major Division I offer on JV. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Yeah. My freshman and sophomore year, I was on JV. Now, my sophomore year, I was JV player in the county. I think where I took my jump right there was the varsity coach started after my practice. I would come up with varsity in practice, and probably that first week, everything was like super fast, and we're doing 3-on-2, 2-on-1s, and everybody dunking. But then when it slowed down after that first week or so, and that's really when I really began to like make a little jump right there.
Okay.
Well, it might be history though.
Yeah, definitely. Because like now when we see that nowadays, those we consider those we'll everybody but the social media and stuff. Oh, that's a fake offer. He on JV, so
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
want to believe you.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so it's crazy because none of my kids have like had the career I had in basketball, but all of them played varsity
Yeah,
from their freshman year. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And then I know kids that if they don't make varsity early, they quit. You know what I mean? Like they just feel like it ain't no other path outside of that. But I'm here to tell them, man, you just gotta keep working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the crazy part is if you would have stayed at Jefferson, man, I mean Carver City, we would have been teammates at Jefferson, man. We probably would have got us a state title, bro.
Hey, so that what you with, huh?
Yeah, I went to
Yeah.
Jefferson. Yeah.
My mama went to Jefferson. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, yep. We only lost 3 games my senior year, man. But we lost to Lakeland Kathleen with Alvin Jones, Gerald Zimmerman, all them guys.
Okay, yeah. They had a little squad on them.
Yeah, they knocked us out. And then Tampa Bay Tech was really good. We were Tech was #1 in the state. Kathleen was 2. I mean, we were 2 and Kathleen was 4, I think, or something like that. And Kathleen beat both of us, and we were all in the same district.
Okay. So you came out, what year you came out? 94?
Yeah.
94. Okay.
Yeah, it would be your sophomore year.
Yeah. So yeah. See, I would have been on JV though, so we wouldn't even play together based on
not at Jefferson, you would have been.
Oh, you
You'd be on varsity. That's what's up. So you mentioned your kids playing varsity as freshmen. Your kids had successful careers too. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so actually, I have 5 kids. My oldest boy, actually, they just had an article about 2 weeks ago that came out and had me and my oldest son, because he went to my high school.
Right.
They had us as like the best father-son duo ever. You know what I mean? It was a nice article, so that was pretty dope. But my son's from another woman. Then I got married with my wife, and we had 4 kids. Right. But my son, he had the option coming out of high school to play football or basketball. He was high in both sports. You know what I mean? He wanted to play with his cousin. You know what I mean? They ended up going to Indiana University. Yep. So there he was supposed to play both sports. But he got hurt in high school his senior year, hurt his knee. And that kind of affected him, throughout kind of his whole. So he never was healthy enough after football season to go play basketball. So he ended up just playing football. And so then I had my oldest daughter. She went to Wisconsin University. But then it was cold. She didn't like it. She wanted to come back home. She went to Ohio University. And then my middle daughter wanted to play with her, and she went to Ohio University with her, so they played there together. And then I got my youngest daughter. She's a freshman at Robert Morris right now on a basketball scholarship. And then it's my 11-year-old son who's left.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And he's what is he doing? What sport is he playing?
He's football and basketball. Yeah. So he it's crazy. They got him at quarterback. He's an unbelievable quarterback.
Wow.
He had 4 touchdowns. He had 3 rushing yesterday, 1 passing yesterday. And but he want to be receiver. Justin Jefferson is his favorite player, and he want to play receiver. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, boy, just trust the process, boy. Just, you know what I mean? Because I just like how they protect the quarterback a little bit. So I like to see him there. You know what I mean? And then his intellect and his mindset, like he learned. They get a boy like 150 plays, so he's brilliant. You know what I mean? So he's built for the quarterback position as far as that concerned. But then on the flip side, basketball is his best sport. Like he's really good in basketball. So we'll see. Gotcha.
Look, you about to set another record, man. You about to go 5 for 5? You got another record.
It's people, but it's work, man. It's a lot of work that go into it. You know what I mean? Right. I think it's a lot of sacrifice. I think the most sacrifice was dealing with 3 girls in the middle. You know what I mean? Coming
Mm-hmm.
from you dealing with emotions, but then you also dealing with how we was brought up. You know what I mean? Like, we was brought up totally different, but then we're in a new era now. So it's like those two things can clash, and it ain't always good. You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, dealing with your kids, you got to really find a way to kind of either your kid got to be built a certain way, or you got to figure out a way to manage that. You know what I mean? And cut it off when you leave the gym. And I think that's the hardest thing sometimes, not really for me, but for my kids, you know what I mean? Because they see me as dad. They just want me to be dad. But then, they get lost in that guy that's in the gym, but that's just coach dad. You know what I mean? That ain't dad. You know what I mean? So it was kind of hard sometimes to separate that. So it's tough. It was a lot of sacrifice, but, they all got their degrees and stuff. So, hey,
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I just started with girls myself, man. We had, I finally kicking the tires on it. We had a little workout yesterday with my daughter and stuff. They are different. And like you said, like you think about how we were brought up. They put you in jail. You do stuff for how we were brought up now.
No, for real though. For
DCL for being.
I mean, I got what with stitching cords and all type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm scared to touch my kids these days. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, for sure. Yeah. So, what's your most memorable moment? Playing basketball that stands out.
I think most memorable for me was probably playing in the NCAA tournament in college. You know what I mean? I think anybody that plays in college, you want to play in the NCAA tournament and win a national championship. You know what I mean? I wasn't able to win a national championship, but I felt what it felt like to play in the NCAA tournament. And I think anybody that's played in that, it's kind of hard to explain what it's like. But I remember we was on the bubble. We and we didn't even plan on having a meeting that day. Selection day. You know what I mean? Then at the last moment, our coach, we got a call, like, come over to the Moore Center. That's where we practice at. And they're like, we go watch the, selection today. And I asked my boy, I'm like, why that's all of a sudden? Like, they must know something, you know what I mean? But then at the same time, you don't want to get too high, you know what I mean? So we go there and we heard our name called, man. And when I tell you that feeling right there, I don't think I've ever experienced, that feeling in anything else when it came to basketball. You know what I mean? It was the end of the season. I was tired. I was banged up. But when our name went across that screen and we finished celebrating, it was like a chill went through my body. And like I was refreshed. You know what I mean? It was like I hadn't touched the ball in a minute. You know what I mean? I felt good. You know what I mean? And the atmosphere there is unbelievable. It's unexplainable. And that year we was a 12 seed. We played the 5 seed TCU, and they had the leading scoring rebound in the nation, Lee Nellen.
Yeah, I remember Lee Nellen.
Yeah. He was a beast. He was a beast. But we was we was battle tested though. We came out the ACC. You know what I mean? So we had them play some dogs, Carolina, Duke, and all that. We beat Arizona that year, so we was battle tested, and we end up beating them, and that was a great feeling, accomplishing that. And we lost the next round of Valparaiso. That was their Cinderella year.
Yeah,
Bryce
Drew.
Yeah, he hit the shot, and we was getting ready to play next, and we saw that shot go in. We looked right at it when it went in, and we played TCU right after that. So I would say that's the biggest moment right there.
I'm sure seeing him hit that shot probably hyped you up more when y'all getting ready to run out that tunnel, man.
Oh man, it was crazy. You know what I mean? You got lost in the moment. Like, hold on, we got a game. Like, but that was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy. And if you ever watch the tournament now, you still see that shot sometime. You know what I mean? And it kind of it take me back to that moment. Like, man, like, dang, I saw that live. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And was that your senior year?
No, that actually was my junior year. That was my junior year.
Junior year.
That was
And then you used to come back home. I remember you playing in the St. Pete Pro-Am. I remember you at first you was like a kind of back to the basket inside guy, this and that and the other. And then when you were playing in Japan with over there again with Shake and all them, I said, so how's Ron, man? How Ron doing it? He was like, man, Ron a big guard. And then KP and hoop with you. KP was like, nah, bro, Ron a big guard, bro. He like Shake, man. They kind of very similar.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember this. We had like our version of the pro run, and it was at the old Tampa Prep gym.
Okay.
So in there we had
I think I remember this.
The Graham brothers was in there. Me, I was in there. Just all of the who's who, and Kevin Martin was in there. And I remember we used to be going out, and they were that night we went out the night before, and they were saying that Kevin Martin just led the nation in scoring.
Yeah.
When you look at Kmart, he don't look like he can hoop, bro, at all. He like the invisible man, bro.
Stream big, skinny. Yeah.
And I was like, him? Like, he led the nation in scoring. So when we went in the gym to pick up, I'm the only player in there that wasn't either former Division I player or a professional pro, currently a pro. But I had that hoop cred that I was, nobody thought of that. So when they picked the fives, they picked the first fives. They didn't pick Kevin Martin, I guess, because how he looked. And I was like, hey, that man just let the nation score. I was like, bro, get my spot. Because I wanted to see. I got to see this. You know what I mean? Like his wrist was hurt or something like that, and he was just, he was just getting shot. And I remember his shot was weird and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the rest was history, man. Once he got to the league, man.
Oh man, he was, and it's crazy. So it was times where, like you mentioned our group and stuff, the workout group with David Thorpe, but it was a lot of times where it was just me and Kevin in there, and me and Kevin ended up going. We used to play 1-on-1 a lot, but Kevin was at this time. I'm a seasoned pro at this time, so I didn't put a little grown man weight on me a little bit. So, because I used to be Kevin's size, like, back in the day. But at this point, I'm in my 200s now. Kevin literally like 170 soaking wet. You know what I mean? So I would tell you the thing about Kevin, man, he was cat quick. That was he was cat quick. And I remember like he was guarding me. And I'm like, man, this cat quick. Like, you know what I mean? I was working with Dave. It's like the best. My handles was on point and everything, but it was hard for me to get around this cat. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was like, all right. So then I had to put that little extra 30 pounds. I had, you know what I mean? And so I turned the little face up game into the little bump, you know what I mean? And just like putting him in the rim. But he was cat quick. His first step was crazy. You know what I mean? But still, if you watch his pro career, he was averaging 20 plus in the league.
Yes,
some years in a row. And if you watch it, you're like, how is he doing that? Because his game wasn't pretty, his shot wasn't pretty.
Very efficient.
Yeah, he was very, very efficient. And that's my thing about working with him. I realized he was just cat quick, man. He was cat quick. Yep.
Yeah, real cool dude, man. He was quiet. He said he had that little bucket he used to drive that he had down here. I don't remember a little hatchback or something.
Man, yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. Then he got drafted, and when he got him a Cadillac, the Cadillac CTS car. You know what I mean? I never forget the tag. The tag said "CY ball."
And the crazy part is that little hatchback and Big Lauren Woods, who's like 7'3", used to make him drive, and he used to be sitting over there in the passenger seat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was a good time. Also in those workouts, that let me further know, because I had been at this point. What year was that? Was that like 2002? What was that?
It probably was somewhere around there, between 2002 and 4, somewhere around there. All that started to blend in, but it was definitely somewhere around there. You know what I mean? It might have been a little bit after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I had been working since '99, And I'm in them runs, and that was one of the times I kind of felt like, I'm trying to see what Ron about. You know what I mean? And, I really couldn't mess with you, dog. Like you'll block me dunk. You'll block me dunk. I have a wide open dunk that's people usually didn't jump with that, and you just came and covered the whole rim and blocked my dunk, man. I was like, yo, like, okay, let me go back and clock in.
I had a little stretch, and I had a little stretch where I was, I thought I was really, really good. You know what I mean? And I was around a lot of pro people. That's like Kevin Martin even came back after his first year with the Sacramento Kings. His first year, he came back. He said, man, you like the best shooter I ever seen, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and he told me that, and I was like, what? You know what I mean? I was like, bro, you played with Stojakovic. You know what I mean? Like Peja Stojakovic. Like, ain't no way. He like, bro. He was like, you shoot better than him, bro. I was like, dang. You know what I mean? So it just being around pro cats that played in the league and telling me that, you know what I mean, like gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, I could see it, man. It just goes to show you how political that game is, man. And one of the things that I was thinking about the other day, if you played today, this thing they talk about 3-and-D guys, you would be a prototype for that. Like you would be one of them guys making like 30 million a year, 40 million a year if you played right. Now, what are you, 6'8", 6'9"?
6'8", 6'9", yep, 6'8" and a half. Yep. But in the league, it's funny, they do it with shoes. So really they had me at like 6'9" and a half, which is crazy.
Yeah, with handles and the way you shot it, like if you play like the way these guys are shooting today, that's how you was shooting back then at your size, bro. And bro, like it's just crazy, but it just goes to show you, the politics of everything. Because I remember when I knew one of the times, it was a few times that I felt like I would go back and forth. Like we all think we're gonna go to the NBA at some point. I used to go back and forth with it, and I always say, like, when I saw Lou Rowe playing in the Pro-Am, and he went in the league, that was one of the times where I was saying, I don't got a shot in hell if he ain't in the league, man. Lou Rowe was cold, bro.
Yeah, he was.
He was cold, man.
It'd be like that, man. It's crazy how that works. You know what I mean? Because like Antonio Lang, that's like my brother. You know what I mean? And Antonio didn't play. He got a pension in the NBA. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he used to tell me, like, bro, he say, ain't a day in my life that I played in the league that I was better than you. You know what I mean? Like he used to tell me that. So it got its politics, but you win some, you lose some, you just keep on trucking. It's just what I go through now today is people that didn't really see me play, and we might be talking about cats, and I'd be like, yeah, he all right. And I don't think he as good as they think he is. And they say I'm hating. You know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm not hating. You know what I mean? It's just like the bar a little higher for me because I was at a really high level. You might not know that, but it's not hating. I'm just being real. You know what I mean?
For sure. I could definitely vouch for that. Who did you back then with your style of play and how you play, who did you pattern your game after?
Honestly, man, Scottie Pippen. Like Scottie Pippen is who I modeled my game after. I had a little crew that I kind of grew up with, and they was Lakers fans. And you know what I mean? And so I didn't have a team at this time. I'm like, man, let me find a team that's kind of gonna be in the mix with them where I can talk stuff. You know what I mean? Right. And I went with the Bulls.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But then, Mike was on all the commercials. He was the man, this and that. I'm like, I ain't gonna be no Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? And we ain't our frame ain't like a nothing like that. And I was watching. I was like, man, Scottie Pippen. You know what I mean? He long. He defend. You know what I mean? He bring the ball up. You know what I mean? And just that versatility is kind of, who I modeled my game after at that height.
Was Pippen your all-time favorite player?
Scottie Pippen?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my all-time favorite as far as when I first started getting into the game. And then I had different guys along the way that I kind of gravitated to that I like Tracy McGrady. You know what I mean? That's one of my favorites of all time. And Penny Hardaway, anybody that was big, that can handle the ball and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of who I idolize my game after a lot. I like Cade Cunningham now. His size and the thing he do, and he got a little old school in it. He'll post.
He does. He
you know
does.
what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he got to do a little too much on that team, though. He needs a little help, but
he do. But I don't know if that's the team or if that's kind of the volume that, because he had a ball in his hand so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think when a guy had that ball that much, it's kind of hard for people to kind of show what they can do. You know what I mean? Because you take like a Duran, for example. You think about how he played when Cunningham was hurt. He was balling.
Yes, he was.
When Cunningham came back, he didn't. You know what I mean? He was getting his touches. You know what I mean? So,
okay. So you've pretty much seen just about anything. But who would you say is the best player you ever played against?
Best player, I'll say. So I'll start off with, I'm gonna say Tim Duncan, as far as like my welcome to like real basketball moment. You know what I mean? And I say that because you get to a certain point at the game and you feel like there's certain things that just is not gonna happen to you. You know what I mean? So I remember my freshman year at Florida State. 9 games in my freshman year, I ended up starting. We were out of conference my first game. We played Seton Hall. My first conference start was at Wake Forest. So we at Wake. I got the ball. I made a little move, and I went to the cup and went to lay it off the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to the point where my whole life until this point, once I got to this point, like it's there. Man, I looked, but somebody came out of nowhere and just pinned it on the backboard. Bro, he pinned it on the backboard and grabbed it and started the fast break all in one motion. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, you know what I mean? Like he different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
sure.
Yeah, but as far as just like one-on-one battle, man, I didn't have Carmelo Anthony. He was tough. You know what I mean? Just the way I think what made him tough is kind of how even when he on offense, like he beating you up. You know what I mean? Like you taking a beating trying to guard him. You know what I mean? Just because of how physical he is. And outside of that, man, like Gerald Honeycutt was a night.
Yeah,
Gerald Honeycutt was a nightmare. I mean, he probably, honestly, that's probably the most skilled person overall that I've ever played against in my whole entire life.
Really?
Yeah, it's like nobody that I played against where he can get you on the block and he can get a spin move. He'll hit you with either hand on either block. He'll face you up in the mid-range, and if he on the left side, he'll hit you with the left hand jumper off the glass. If he on the right side, he'll hit you with the right hand. Man, he was tough, man. He was, and I think most people that's been played against him, a lot of people will say, man, he one of the most skilled people that they've ever played against in their life.
That's what's up, man. He was at Tulane, right?
Yep, Tulane.
Yep, and I was going. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Like, who was the toughest player that people might not know who they are? And Honeycutt's a good one, man. That's a real good one. Like, I would have never thought that. I remember he was good. I remember, because we had Street and Smith magazine back in the day before the internet and the USA Today, and Honeycutt, I think he was 93. He was in that class of 93. What was he? Or was he with us?
He was somewhere down there at 93, 94 somewhere. But he was in the McDonald's game, but he was with some studs like when he came out. Yeah. I wonder was he in that. I don't know if he was in that Glenn Rice class or
no, he was after them. I think it was like Antonio Wingfield, Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, all them guys.
Yeah.
Rashad Griffith, Randy Livingston.
Yeah, because that's his boy.
Yeah, all them guys was because that was my junior year. They was I used to read about them because my man Dre, he played at Westover with Antonio Wingfield.
Okay.
And, so I used to be. I remember the name. I remember the name Honeycutt, and but I remember him going to Tulane. But yeah, that's a good one. I would have never pegged that one.
Tough, man. Tough.
So who's your all-time favorite teammate? I think I got a pretty good idea on who you're gonna say. But go ahead.
Teammate, I'm probably say Antonio Lane.
Yeah, that's what I figured you say.
Antonio Lane. Yeah, that's
my together in Japan, right?
Yeah. That's my guy, man. We played together like 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then he was my assistant coach.
Okay.
Then he was my head coach. After that, he got the head coaching job over there. But I would say A Lang, and it's crazy because I remember when I first went over there, and I reported first. Mm-hmm. Then I got there, they told me my teammate was gonna be, and it was like Antonio Lang, and I was like, Antonio Lang from Duke, you know what I mean? So I made just where I come from. It's just we really rock with Duke like that. You know what I mean? Like
you know
what I mean? We was like UNLV, Fab Five type. You know what I mean? That was our vibe.
Georgetown.
Yeah, like that was our vibe. So I say, Duke, and man, I gotta play with this cat. You know what I mean? So I was dreading it, man, but it's crazy though. Like we bet, man, we kicked it off. But he a real brother. You know what I mean? Like he really shocked me. You know what I mean? Like they say, don't judge a book by its cover. Like he's one of them. So we had a really good career. And it's funny though, but we used to compete in practice like crazy, and our teammates thought we didn't like each other. You know what I mean? Right. And they asked our translator one day. They like, the Japanese guys. They're like, man, y'all. You guys, they don't like each other. And it was like, nah, bro, like we leave here, we go get something to eat together, we go out together, party together, you know what I mean? Like we brothers, you know what I mean? It's just that we on the court, that's just how it is. You go compete, you know what I mean?
Right.
And some of your friends you compete with even harder because you got to see them outside of that, where y'all just shooting the shit, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was mad as hell when you blocked my dunk, man, and all that. But we went and got them drinks at the Blue Martini when we left.
Yeah, for sure.
So who's your all-time favorite coach? Is the same guy?
I would say he was. I mean, he was. So, and I'm gonna say this because he looked out for me. Like I had a knee injury. I left from over there one year. I went to France. And I had I blew my knee out. You know what I mean? I remember I left there and they told me like, I wouldn't play no more. You know what I mean? And that being like my brother, he had got the head coaching job at that time.
Right.
And so the team he was our team in Japan that he was coaching, they would go out to Vegas every year, and they go out to Vegas and to scout talent out there.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But he told me, he was like, hey, we go look at you. We want to look at you because you coming off that injury or whatnot. But he had then already told behind closed door, he said, Brian, gonna put you through much. You know what I mean? But, I want you back. You know what I mean? So I went, and I wasn't even healthy. I actually went over there and played a whole season unhealthy. And then the following season, I was healthy. You know what I mean? But he looked out for me. So from that standpoint, him, but outside of that, I would say my high school coach. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have, I didn't have a father around. My mother didn't know anything about the recruiting process or anything like that. And man, he just everything he could do, you know what I'm saying, to help me out, he really did that. You know what I mean? He set up, all my home visits, all my, he was doing team camps at all these schools and stuff. And like in every school he took me to, I got an offer. We went to University of Florida, we went to Tennessee, and everywhere I got an offer and stuff like that. So I really commend him for that. And then you got to think in 1996, I was 6'8". I was the tallest guy on my high school team.
Right.
I was the tallest guy. But he said, hey, I'm going to put you at the 2.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I was taller than my center. I was taller than my power forward. You know what I'm saying? I was taller than the 3-man. You know what I mean? And if you look around Pinellas County at that time in 96, it wasn't a lot of, if anybody, that was 6'8", playing the 2 guard at that time. You know what I'm saying? Most teams at that time, you down there on the block. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? So, so for that, you know what I'm saying, I'm very appreciative of that. And so for those reasons, like, he's definitely one of my top two coaches of all time for believing in me like that.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what it's all about. That's a what I call a coach. You know,
yeah,
a coach. The old school with my grandma, me and my mama say coach. You know, and the coaches back in the day, they really looked out for the betterment of the kid. Made sure they had something to eat. Make sure they had a ride. Make sure they did whatever they had to do, go above and beyond. You see your coach at PE. Like when you go to PE, that's a coach. You know what I mean? But your coach going above and beyond, man.
Good, yeah.
And you see it so much now where there are not many that would do what he did for you, because they'll say things like, well, the kid got to sacrifice for the betterment of the team. But he set you up for success to go to Florida State and play on that wing and be, you know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to him for doing that, man. That's big time.
Yeah. Because I'm like you say, a lot of people at that time at my height, bro, you was not playing out there. You was gonna be down there on that block. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but I was playing the 5. I was 6'6", 155. Could not leave the block. I went to JUCO with Coach Josh Giles, and I had to play the 2, 3, 4, and the 5. But I worked on my handles, and at 155 pounds on that JUCO, I wasn't gonna be playing on nobody block full time. 150. But I was on that wing, and when I was quick, and they put a guard on me, I'd take him to the block. You know what I mean? Big on me coming back. It was just a matchup problem. But I did that on my own, and in hindsight, maybe it did help me because I had like post game, like when I played against Vince Carter, he's probably the best I played against in high school, and that was the only shot I had, was to take him in that deep water and drown him, because he couldn't defend the block like that because he was more of a coach. But at camp, we was both the biggest person on our team, and so. That helped me a bit. If I would have had a coach that didn't allow me to play on the block like that, I probably wouldn't have had that in my game, and it helped me out along the way. But
Vince would have been one of the toughest ones, but you had Antoine Jameson with him. They had a little squad, so you didn't get the shots like that. You know what I mean? So so you didn't have to worry about him as much in college. I could imagine like high school, where he probably was more the man. You had to see him a little bit more.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was at camp though, but still, he had the green light.
He was one of the, from the floor to that rim, that bounce.
Yeah,
different. And I tell people, TV didn't do him no justice.
Right.
It did, man. You see that in person, different.
Because it ain't just the bounce. He has real long arms. He has real big hands. Where you know what I mean. Like, and it was like he moved the ball around and stuff like that.
Man.
It was crazy, bro. Like nothing you could do. I just made him be a jump shooter. That was the only chance I had. And he couldn't shoot back then. Later on, he could shoot. But back then he couldn't shoot. And I was a year older than him too. So
right.
All right. So after Florida State, I want to say you went to the Heat training camp, right? Oh, you were with the Heat?
Yep. I went right after the draft. I went and played the summer league with Portland.
Okay.
Portland Trailblazers out in LA. And then the Heat, they called me from there, and I came right from the summer league to Miami. And I was there like probably about a week or two. They was bringing in different guys to work out against me. That's what Eric Spoelstra, he did all the training and stuff.
Right.
And then after that, they ended up signing me I had like a 2-year deal, and it was like once a certain point, it was guaranteed after a certain point and stuff like that. But a crazy story about that, and that's probably one of my biggest, and I don't know, you might be asking that, but one of my biggest regrets was the Heat called me draft day to work out, and I didn't go back. I didn't go because I had just got off the road from all my workouts, and I had been done like 2 or 3 days. And I was like, I ain't going. And my agent, he was like, you really ain't got to go. And the Heat was like, we understand. It was like, he'll probably be gone because we got like the 50-some pick in the draft. You know what I mean? They expected me to be gone. And then it's crazy. Draft day, they moved up to 30-something. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, I should have went to that workout. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So that's one of my biggest regrets, not going to that workout that day.
So at what point, like, did your goal shift where you said, like, look, the NBA ain't where it's at, like, and your goal shifted?
I would say probably after my second summer league, playing in that, you know what I mean? And I saw, because it was, I don't know if you remember the year that the Heat draft, they brought Shaq in.
Yep.
Brought Shaq in that year. And man, that summer league, I was with the Heat, man. I was going, and this is after I had then signed with them before I was coming back. You know what I mean? Right. So this some years later. And I was playing in the summer league. And it actually is it might be the summer I worked out with Dave Thorpe. That was my work, man. He had my handles crisp and like everything. And that summer, man, I went, like, I had a crazy summer. Like I really balled out. Like I was it was crazy. We had point guards on the Heat team in summer league. They couldn't even bring the ball up the court. They had we were playing the Celtics. They had Marcus Banks and Delonte West. And they were picking up full court, and our guards couldn't get it up. And the coach was like, Ron, bring the ball up. You know what I mean? I just got it. You know what I mean? And I was balling. And it was like after that moment, and then Shaq came in because they brought Pat Riley in that summer league to watch me. And then they got the call by Shaq. He ended up leaving there abruptly. And then Shaq came in, and then Shaq got there and said that, and they had a whole write-up too about that summer league about me. It said, like, I would open up the floor nicely for Shaq, coming in and stuff like that. And then I got word from my agent that Shaq said he wanted them to bring in veterans around him. So I don't know if you had brought in, like, broke down Penny Hardaway. No disrespect to Penny, but at this time, Penny was old and hurt.
He was a shell of himself. Yeah.
He was a shell of himself, and they did little stuff like that, and it was like a Willie Anderson. It was just crazy stuff they did when you think about where I was at that point as a player. And I was just like, man, you know what, man, I'm gonna just go overseas and get this money while I can, because overseas starting in August, camp for the NBA is like October. So you know what I'm saying? So they put that money on the table. I had a family to take care of. I saw the politics in it. And I was just like, man, let me just go on over here and try to make as much money as I can, man. And just, if they want me, they'll find me.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So if you could go back in time, in a time machine, and give young Ron Hale one bit of advice, what would that be?
Honestly, it would have been to not have kids early. You know what I mean? It would have been just, you know what I'm saying, like, handle your business first and do that. But you know what I'm saying? Because once I started having kids and stuff, like, things had to change. You know what I mean? As far as, like, I got a family to take care of. You know what I mean? So that had me where I had to go try to make that money overseas and do what I had to do. But if I could go back in time, it would have been, I wouldn't have had no kids. I would have just focused on my craft. You know what I mean? And then I could have went to camp for free. It wouldn't have mattered. You know what I mean? I could have went back and stayed with my mama. You know what I mean? And been cool until that, came to fruition. But that probably would have been the one thing I would have did. You know what I'm saying? And just made sure I handle business first before I start having kids and thinking about a family and stuff.
Gotcha. That's all respect.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's time to pass the rock, Broham. So,
yes, sir.
Who got next, man? Who's next? Who you want to see on this podcast? And the catch is, you got to help me lock him in.
Okay, I got you. Well, we talked about him earlier. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna give you this first one first, because I know they ain't as busy right now. They gonna be able to lock in right now. and then that'll give me a chance to holler at my boys. They both my boys, but I think I'm gonna go Gerald Honeycutt, and I just think that'll be a good transition. And he probably go A-Lane, and I think that'll be a good transition. But I think Gerald Honeycutt will have some stuff for you. You know what I mean? And then, but really it's gonna be two because I'm gonna do A-Lane too. I'm gonna holler at him, but I just wanted to go Honeycutt first, and then A-Lane.
Hey, lock them in. I love to have them. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Watch both of them. You know, Lane go Alabama boy, man. So yeah. You know, all my family up there, all my family's in Alabama, most of them. So
word.
Yeah. So I always, knew he was an Alabama guy.
Yeah, I went there. It's funny. I went to Alabama one time, man. He had a celebrity golf outing he had there, and he brought like me in and Jeff Capel or Jason Capel, the old Jeff Capel, the one that played with him, brought him in and some other guys, and we was out there and we got downtown, man, and got into this fight and was scuffling out in the streets, man. It was crazy because we had this little outing, man, and everybody was nice and stuff, and they got us limos and we doing dinner and all this, and man, we messed around at the end of the night, man. It got crazy down there in Mobile, man. It was crazy. So that's my one experience with Alabama.
Gotcha. Hey, I forgot about this. So I remember your housewarming party.
Okay. Yeah.
My wife was pregnant with JoJo at the time.
Okay.
And, we went over there and we was drinking. I probably drank a whole bottle of Patron by myself that night.
Yeah.
And so Lauren calls a party bus. Remember that?
Yeah, we got that party bus that night. Yeah.
So somebody called the party bus. A party bus.
Yeah. That was. We had that. Yeah, me and him got it.
Yeah. So we get on the party bus and we ride. And I remember your cousin, man. He was hilarious, bro. I don't remember his name, but you let him borrow your baby blue linen.
I already know who you talking about. You Chris Chambers. Chris, dark skin. Yeah. That's my boy though. But we call him Cover. That's my boy though.
Okay.
He got drunk.
Oh, he was smashed, and so we get to the spot, and I remember somebody was the lady pulled her ID out, and she dropped it, and he said, "I got it." So he bent down to pick up the ID, fell. He in his knees in the mud in your linen.
Hey man, he threw up everywhere. Like my shoes had throw up on them. But it was like that was custom linen, custom shoes, everything that he had. And man, it's so codified out. You know what he was doing at the crib though?
What's that?
We had the Patron, but then we had this. Lauren brought this champagne over. It was. I remember
that.
These bottles of champagne over.
He bought a couple bottles.
Yeah, and these I think these bottles was like $180. They was expensive bottles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So. This cat, because it's expensive, he's sneaking when ain't nobody looking, and he hid the champagne. So yeah, that he was already towed up, man, before we got there. You know what I mean? And, yeah, he's a wild boy, man. He is a wild. Yeah. I was so mad at him that night, man.
It was funny. Like I remember he was on his knees in the mud, and I said, "Ron, look at your cousin." He was just looking at him like. So he didn't go in the club. He had to stay on the bus.
Man, it was crazy. Yeah, he was wild boy.
Then we go in there. We in there drinking. You know how Lauren. I still haven't seen nobody can drink like that dude, bro. Like to this day. Like that dude is ridiculous, bro. Like all 7'3" of him. I think you had to fill up from his ankles all the way up to his head. But he would. And so my boy Jordan Vreeland came in there because he lived in the area, and he's like, "Man, it's hot in here, man." I was like, "Man, take this jacket off." I got another bottle of Patron. I poured a whole bottle of Patron down his back trying to help him take his jacket off. Yeah. I knew right then. I said, "It's time for me to go."
Yeah.
I called my wife. I said, "Tasha," I said, "Look, if I get back on this party bus, I'm not gonna make it home tonight. So either you come get me, or I have to see you when Man, she drove from Brandon to the Hyde Park Cafe in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I think Earl Bean was with us. I don't know Earl Bean was with us.
Bean,
Yeah.
It was a lot of us. It was a lot of us.
Yeah, it was a lot of my cousins was there.
Yeah. And I went to pick my truck up about 3 o'clock the next day, 3 p.m. the next day.
Yeah.
When I got to your house to pick my truck up, all those cars were still out there. Nobody made it home. I knew it. I was like, if I get back on that bus, I'm coming home.
Everybody was tore up. You know what I mean? But that was like the thing too. Like anytime that people came out, and I kind of stayed out a little ways too. So I already wanted to get everybody tore up, so everybody had to stay out there when they came to my house. And I had a real quick a Lauren Wood story. So I had this big old fish bowl. I don't know if I brought it out that day that you was there, but I had a big old fish bowl that my wife used to put like fake fruit and stuff in for like decorations and stuff. And so I would fill that big old fish bowl up with liquor. You know what I mean? And we would just hit it. So this day at my house, man, we drinking all day long. So it got to nighttime. It's like 8, 9 o'clock. We looking around, me and Lauren, we like, man, where all the liquor gone? Like we hot. Like how all that liquor gone we had. So we like, man, we finna go to the liquor store and get some more liquor. So we drive, it was a gate to come into my spot. So we get outside the gate and we make a left on the street. And Lauren stop in the middle of the road and put the car in park. He look at me, he say, man, I can't drive. Hey, I look at him. I say, shit, I can't drive either. So we sat there for a minute, man. And then we just backed up and we went on back to my crib and parked. And so now we get back to the spot. And now Lauren is trying to drive home after saying he can't drive to the liquor store. He's trying to drive home. So now my auntie and everybody out there, they like, nah, you can't drive home. You can't drive home. So he was getting mad. Like he really wanted to drive home. You know what I mean? And so we talked him out of it. He had his keys. Man, he slept in the room next to me and my wife's bed on the floor like this with his hands in his face like this.
I can see it.
You know what I mean? And you know how long he is.
Pause.
Yeah, big pause. So all night, woke up the next morning, he there, boom. So come to find out, man, my family, they saw how messed up we was and they hid all the liquor. So we had a lot more liquor there. My auntie, my mom and everybody just put the liquor up. But yeah, that was a funny story. But I'm glad they did put it up. So
yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
No, I appreciate you coming on, chopping it up with me, man. I'm looking forward to you starting your podcast, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna definitely look in that, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny.
You gotta do that. You gotta do that, bro.
Yeah, it's funny. Last time I was home, too, somebody told me, they was like, man, why don't you do a podcast? You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, you know what I mean? But then I started thinking about it, like, dang, like I know a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? So I could definitely probably get it popping. I just want to kind of find a lane where it's just not straight like basketball, you know what I mean? Where it's basketball, but kind of something else to kind of, spice it up a little bit. You know what I mean? But for sure.
All right.
Yeah, keep doing your thing, brother.
Oh, no, man. I appreciate you, man. Once again, bro. Let's stay up.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro.
Appreciate you.
You could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with me. Thanks for watching. Y'all come back now. You hear?